Hello boxing fans, today is the first of a multi-video series on Carl Froch versus Andre Ward. In this particular video I'm just going to sum up what they've done in their careers and how they've got to this position at the pinnacle of the super middleweight division. When looking at Carl Froch as an amateur, we can see that he's a two-time ABA champion at middleweight and also won a bronze medal in 2001 at the World Championships at middleweight. When contrasting to Andre Ward, people claim that he has never lost a fight, pro or amateur, in his career. However, that is not exactly true. He has a 110 to 5 losses record at amateur. He did then go on to win the 2004 gold medal at light heavyweight in Athens. What these records do show is that both boxers are very capable at boxing and they don't have to slug it out in the middle of the ring. Okay, so now looking at Carl Froch's recent record, I'm just going to point out that he's had some great top-notch fights over the last few years. You'd say pound for pound he's probably well up there with, I would say he's probably with Sergio Martinez and Manny Pacquiao, up in like the fact that he's fought some of the greatest boxers that we have in the sport today. Firstly, obviously, he beat Jean Pascal in Nottingham for the WBC title. It was a good unanimous decision. Froch was never in trouble of losing that fight. He seemed to have it always under control. And don't forget, Jean Pascal is considered the man at light heavyweight until he got beat recently by Bernard Hopkins. So you got to give him credit for that. Next, obviously, in his first defence, he goes away to America to fight Jermaine Taylor, the #1 contender. Knocks him out in the final round. You've got to point out, Jermaine Taylor, who's got an iron right hand, put Froch down, who has an iron chin, for the first time in his career, and it's not been done since. So he knocks him out in the final round, keeps the title, wins the fight, and that takes us to the start of the tournament, where he fights in England for his first fight against Andre Dirrell. Andre Dirrell obviously took this to a split decision. My thoughts on this fight include Andre Dirrell, firstly, in the first 4 rounds, not actually throwing that many punches. I would say that even though he was making Carl Froch miss, he did not land that many himself. And you can't win a fight by not landing punches, and this is to either. There was actually an investigation into this by the WBC, and at the very end, the guy came back and said, I can't think of any other way that the fight could have went, which indicates that they couldn't have given any of the rounds to Dirrell because he didn't actually try to win the rounds. You can't win rounds by running away. It comes back to that scenario. You can't win them by running away, and that's what he done the most to fight. Also, he does these nasty little tactics that I do not appreciate, such as when I'm under pressure, intense pressure, I like to fall down to the ground. There's actually a rule in the British Board of Control rules that state if a fighter falls down to break up the pressure, then you can deduct points. The referee should have. Next, he goes away to fight Mikkel Kessler in Denmark. This fight was a must-win for Kessler, and I think Froch had been, since he won the title, his performance had been going downhill since then, to be perfectly honest. So I didn't ever think he was going to win that fight. It was a close decision, and one of the judges gave it drastically to Mikkel Kessler, which I think the whole world looked at it and thought, ugh, I don't fancy going there to fight. So in reality, the fight was actually quite close. I think I had Kessler win it by 2 rounds, and that's not much. And when you think about it, it's a title fight as well. You have to beat a champion well to win his title. I don't think Froch was beaten well. It was a great war. It could have went either way. Next, obviously, Arthur Abraham, and this was a fight where Arthur Abraham had stated he will fight this fight away from home, and Arthur Abraham made it clear he will not fight this fight away from home, and they did all they could to get it in Germany. And Carl Froch, who recently came, who had a decision that was slightly, let's say it was really close, he didn't want to fight away from home, and the only thing they could do was have it in a neutral venue where, in my opinion, all the fights should have happened anyway. So they had it in Helsinki. Everyone was saying that Arthur Abraham's going to do this, Arthur Abraham's going to do that. Arthur Abraham didn't do shit. Basically, he came out, got at the jab of Carl Froch. How do people think that the taller, in my opinion, stronger and better reach. How is he going to lose the fight to Arthur Abraham, who, in my opinion, is quite one-dimensional? So yeah, boxing exhibition. Carl Froch wins all 12 rounds. It was a brilliant fight to watch. It was one that you actually show to your friends and say, "This is boxing." If that would be one of the fights that I would actually say you have to watch that fight. It was a great fight. Then obviously Glenn Johnson in America. The fight was a majority decision, which I did not agree with. I think that Carl Froch won a unanimous decision. I gave Froch a win by 3 rounds. I don't know how anyone could score it a draw. I did not agree with that. To be honest, I think that the judging in this competition has been below par throughout. I've been slightly disappointed with it. And then obviously the next fight is also in New Jersey against Andre Ward, another American. Okay, now looking at Andre Ward's recent opposition, I'm first going to start with Edison Miranda. Edison Miranda is one of these fighters who's a good fringe contender, and he's been about a bit. He's fought against some great guys. He's always going to have a good fight in him, and he's never really in a bad fight, let's be honest. Thing was, he was beaten by unanimous decision, and this was the last fight where Andre Ward used his skills to beat his man. All the rest have been slightly anticlimactic and marred by other activities in the ring, you might say. So I'm going to move on now to Mikhail Kessler. Firstly, this fight was obviously marred from the headbutt from round 2. Mikhail Kessler moaned about it. He tried to get points deducted, didn't work. The referee was standard, really, to say the least. People say that the fight would have been different anywhere else in the world. I agree. I think that the fight would have been a no contest if it was in Denmark. Lucky Andre Ward for having his fight in California, Oakland, where he's born. Next fight after Jermaine Taylor pulled out, threw in Alan Green, who I don't really rate at all. I don't think I think they could have had a lot better fighters in there. So they chucked in Alan Green. Alan Green was destroyed in that fight, surgically taken apart. He lost a unanimous decision. Andre Ward in this fight, he actually shown his inexperience in that he couldn't take his man out. He's got 0 power. He only showcased a few skills here. This fight was also marred by a few headbutts, heads coming together, and people were starting to notice that maybe Ward's a bit of a dirty fighter. I mean, I'm gonna say this: I see a lot, and I mean a lot, of Bernard Hopkins in Andre Ward, and that's not a good thing because I don't really like Bernard Hopkins. I'm gonna move on now. After the farcical performance with Andre Dirrell, he pulls out and they throw in Sakio Bika. Thing was, he didn't have to fight Sakio Bika because they already gave him 2 points. So that was another thing. Showtime, like, sort of fixing it. He doesn't have to fight anyone any good. He fights Sakio Bika, who's got a losing record. He doesn't need to earn the points. We just give him the points. What's all that about? Okay, so he wins that by unanimous decision, and this fight was marred by more heads coming together. And later on in one of the rounds, Sakio Bika took an elbow from Andre Ward, and it was one of those moments where it was confirmation. This guy's is actually a really dirty fighter. And this was also like the last 2 fights in Oakland. Moving on now to Arthur Abraham, and this was a very anticlimactic fight. This was Arthur Abraham's last chance to prove himself. This was a fight where I actually thought Andre Ward had hardly anything to lose in this fight, and this is what I mean by that. I mean, he knows he's better than Arthur Abraham. He knows he's miles better than him, and in my opinion, he should have fought that fight in Germany, because now people like me can say, and anyone can say, well, he's had all his fights in Oakland, California. La la la, he's a bum. He's not a bum. I don't think he's a bum. But this was a fight where he should have took it to Germany. He knew he could beat him. He knew he could have wiped the floor with him, and he knew he had a chance of stopping him. But he decided, I'm not taking the chance. I'm going to fight it in California. And again, I just don't see the point in that. He should have fought it away from home. So he won that fight. Arthur Abraham hardly tried to win the fight again. Another unanimous decision for Andre Ward, and another point where he couldn't stop his man. Unless we go into Carl Froch, which is also in America, so all of his fights have been in America. Thanks for listening, and watch out for my next video, which will be my official prediction from Froch and Ward. If you could press the like button if you agree with what I've been saying, because it helps other people see this and how I can interact with everyone. I always talk to anyone who wants to talk about boxing, so yeah, write a comment if you want.